All right, what is up? Welcome back to the Raging Atheist. I'm your boy Nakasuchi, and tonight we have Lisa for Truth with us. You guys probably recognize her from the comments section. If you haven't went to her channel, I have a link in the description below that will take you right to her channel. So please go there, subscribe. Very informative. I found it to be a lot of history. I love history, so I've really enjoyed the channel. So what's up, Lisa? Tell us a little bit about yourself and your channel and the work you've been doing.
Well, I grew up as a fundamentalist, and that's why I hate Kent Hovind. You probably got that from all my comments.
Oh yeah. It's easy to hate Kent Hovind.
Yeah, it is. It's also, Stephen Anderson and Matt Powell and all those others.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided I started going into his channel, into Kent Hovind's channel, and they kept asking me the same thing over and over and over and over again. And I thought, you know what? Why don't I just start my own channel? That way, if they ask me something, then I can say, go to my channel and you can see it in my videos, and I don't have to waste my breath again.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I totally understand that. I did it myself. I just got to the point to where I was tired of listening to other people say it or debating about it, and I'm just like, I'm gonna make a channel and do my thing. And it evolved. It started with politics, and it evolved, and I didn't have anybody watching me at first, and it's something you just play around with. You get practice. In fact, most of my first videos, first year, the majority of them got about 3 views, and I'm sure all 3 of them were actually me watching the video. So I go back and watch them now, and I'm like, holy crap! I look at how far I've come with my editing, and so yeah, it's something that you will get better as you go along. But I find your videos very interesting because they're very informative.
Thank you.
You seem to put a lot of research into your work. I was just watching earlier today your newest video, The Psychology of Religious Experience, and you talk about something that I often talk about, and I think people would kind of dismiss it as a false argument, but there is science behind the fact that the religious experience is very similar to an experience of intoxication to certain chemicals. So you can equate the religious experience to a drug high.
Oh, yes.
And I do that quite often, and I think people kind of dismiss me.
No. It's science. It's got science behind it, definitely. But yeah, it's because what drugs do, especially psychoactive drugs, they just release chemicals in your brain. And what the religious experience does is it just naturally releases those neurochemicals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I say that a lot, and I have read the science behind it. It is new science, and they're exploring it. But it just seems like I'm editing a video about Kirby is a Boss today, and she's talking about the Holy Spirit and all of that, and I'm like, you're just basically having a drug-induced experience, and you just can't quite understand what's happening to you.
Right. You don't have to have a drug in order to do that. You can do it yourself. I mean, it's kind of like going into a trance.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have a drug to go into a trance either.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I used to do that. As a Buddhist, I meditated a lot, and when you were in real deep meditation, it would feel like you were floating on a cloud. It wasn't even like you were sitting on the floor anymore. And I often associated that with like an LSD experience or an experience on psychedelic mushrooms. And even in the Native American religion, you might have, I think you might have need to turn the mute on the YouTube channel because I'm getting an echo.
Excuse me?
You might need to throw, if you got the YouTube channel on, hit the mute button on that because I'm getting an echo.
Okay. One moment.
Oh yeah. I did it my first couple times.
Is that better?
Yes, I think it is.
Okay.
Yep, all right, no echo. All right, so yeah, even as when I was practicing the Native American, the generalized Native American religion, we would actually use psychedelic drugs for certain dances, for certain ceremonies would require it. You know, peyote was a thing that we would use quite a bit. So we were able to equate the spiritual experience in very much the same way we were having our psychedelic experiences. You know, and they were pretty much the same.
Right. That's what that's what people don't understand. You don't need drugs to get high.
No. And especially like, and if you're in an atmosphere where you're kind of feeding off of other human beings, the energy. I know I've been in churches and it's they're really excuse me, but it's really high energy atmospheres. You're getting juiced on the Lord, so it's
right.
pretty easy for that.
Yeah, I've been watching Jesus Camp. I can only stomach it for a few minutes at a time because to me that's just child abuse. But you know,
I researched Jesus Camp for a while. A lot of people told me I need to do videos on it, but I just can't find like any new stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you just see how the groupthink takes over.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, people say that groupthink isn't a thing, but I'm here to tell you, psychologists know it's a thing. People will do things in groups that they would never do as an individual.
Oh yeah, yep, and you can see that throughout history. That's how a religion can be so many different things throughout its history. You know, you see it with Islam, you see it with Christianity, you see it with Buddhism. You can go from times of, you know, great peace and you know, prosperity to times of torturing, you know, groups of people, whole races of people. And you can just see that over and over in history.
Right. And, you know, I don't have a problem with moderates. The moderate religious people out there, I don't have a problem with those people. It's the hate mongering fundamentalists I have a problem with. Like, you know, the Kent Hovens that say, oh, we should burn the fags, and not that that's something I say, but that's quote unquote what he says. We should quote unquote burn the fags.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, not even. You know, that's what I have a problem with. And since I can go in the literature and I can read this stuff, and I'm not saying people are dumb, but you know, there are just certain things and certain disciplines that you have to sort of speak the lingo in order to get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
There are some things in biology I have no clue what they're saying. You know, even though I went to college, if I pick up a biology journal, sometimes I have no clue what they're saying. But I can pick up a journal in psychology and be like, hey, cool, I understand this.
Yeah, and that's how I am, and that's why I really don't like, you know, the evolution debates. I feel like, you know, I tried to do something against Matt Powell and his homosexual ideology, and I really got lumped into this like evolution debate person, and I'm like, no, I'm just trying to do something against the homophobe, you know?
Right.
So, and now everybody wants to debate evolution, and I'm not afraid to speak to anybody. So standing for truth is coming with 12 pages of, you know, his talking points and research he's put into this, you know, disproving evolution and all the different science. And I'm like, I'm not the dude to have this conversation with, you know, like.
Right. You need to go to Aaron.
Yeah, there, you know, why are you coming to me? And he has literally been trying to talk to me since I started talking to Matt Powell. And it's because that's what Matt Powell focuses on is evolution and trying to dismiss evolution. But I wasn't interested in that with Matt Powell. I was interested in him saying, you know, that gay people should be put to death and disobedient children should be put to death. That, you know, that was the things that I was trying to combat with him. So it's like this miscommunication. All these people, and or they just know that I don't know much about it, and they're trying to make themselves look smart. Yes, I did see Pastor Wilson on Skylar. I do want to talk about that later as well, because it was a shit show. If I had known about Pastor Wilson's racism, it probably would have been a very different discussion between the two of us. MZ, I had no idea about the racism. Like, I really didn't know who he was. Cyrus had sent me a debate, and I watched like the first 20 minutes or so. And I probably should have at least like skipped to the end to see how he finished, because I'm sure that the racism stuff came at the end. So I had no idea about it. And I'm like, I'm in Skylar's chat, like, dude, I want another conversation. I didn't know about the racism. This isn't fair. Like, had I known that, I would have but I was also really trying to approach Pastor Wilson and actually have a conversation with a Christian, that I just didn't devolve into screaming and cursing. And I was trying to avoid that, but it would have been fun to confront him on the racism shit.
Right.
Sorry, answering MZ in the chat.
I used to be a fundamentalist.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I was too.
I was raised as a fundamentalist, and so I get all my venom out for the fundamentalists on other channels, like yours, Knock, so that when I go to my channel, I can be, you know, calm and cool and collected. And in fact, I had one subscriber comment on my channel that she would send her family members who are getting caught in the fundamentalist web to my channel instead of, say, like Aaron's channel, because Aaron, he can get heated.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's what I like about Aaron.
Yes,
he calls Kurt Hovind a cunt.
Yes, cunt.
I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I was in a chat on the non-sec, and somebody was saying, "You're misspelling Kent Hovind's name, or are you doing that on purpose?" I'm like, I'm doing that on purpose. Yeah,
you have to have fun with Kent Hovind. I've been thinking about doing videos on Kent, you know, just Kent, because he was in the movie Science Falsely So Called, and you know, so he should be as part of my rage as Matt Powell. So I'm gonna do some Kent Hovind and Steve Anderson videos soon. I did concentrate, like, I've got, let me think, I think 3 new videos that I've made now, and they're all Colt Bunny videos. So I've got a new Girl Defined, I've got new Coffee and Bible Time, a new Kirby's the Bosses, which I'm editing right now. And I had done 2 more MMA Jinkins videos, filmed them, got the first video completely edited, and I'm starting on the second video, and I'm like, you know, I think this video just really seems familiar, the one that I was responding to. And sure as shit, it was the same exact video from my last response video to MMA, so I had to delete those 2. I couldn't. No new MMA Jinkins videos. You know, but so that's what I've been working on. And
MMA Jinkins is like Girl Defined on.
Well, I see Emma different than most people do, because yeah, everybody sees the spunky attitude, and she is very likable, but she's the head of a movement that is very dangerous. So it's called the How To movement. I did one video on the movement itself. It's kind of back there. Yeah, he was convicted of fraud. MZ Kent Hovind was. Yeah, he is.
Oh yeah, and his little cult. They're like, oh no, he wasn't. He's told like 3 different stories. He's like, oh no, I didn't break any laws. And then it was like, oh no, I didn't break any laws because I'm a sovereign citizen. And then it was like, oh yeah, I did break some laws, but they were stupid laws.
Yeah, yeah, he's always got a different excuse. It's like what's his name, Jimmy Stewart, who raped the girl, and he's still a televangelist making millions of dollars for being. I think it's Jimmy Stewart. Maybe it's Jimmy something or another. I can't remember his name. I think it's Jimmy Stewart, and so he raped the girl back in the 80s, and I think he actually went to prison for defrauding his congregation. Raped the girl, settled with her, and still doing televangelists, and they're still giving him just money out the ass, and he's still considered legitimate in the Christian community, and a lot of Christians still give him sway, and it's just a ridiculous concept that these people still have any kind of power at all.
I know, it's amazing that they believe him, that he's like, well, the evolutionists threw me in prison. The evolutionists got in a conspiracy with, this is what he says. The evolutionists got into a conspiracy with the IRS to throw him in jail. That's what he says.
Yeah, and they often, they often think that if they can disprove evolution, that they'll get non-believers to believe in God again. And like, my non-belief has nothing at all to do with evolution. It has nothing at all to do with evolution. My non-belief has everything to do with the ridiculous story that they want me to believe. It has nothing to do with evolution. So when they're trying to spend all their time disproving, scientists that are far smarter than they are, has far more information than they do, you just lose me there. Like, you are nothing to me. You're just a con. And I would much rather discuss the literature that you hold so dear, and let's talk about the fallacies there. Let's talk about the hypocrisies there. Let's talk about the morality we find there, instead of all this crap that you're trying to disprove, this Harvard PhD or that Princeton PhD. I'm going to probably trust the PhD just because they are smarter than you are.
Exactly. But then they say they want to be taken seriously. Well, if they want to be taken seriously, they should publish something in a journal.
Yeah, and that's my thing.
They say, well, we can't because the scientists conspire against us. Well, that's bullshit, because science actually says we want you to try to disprove us. That's what science is all about.
Please disprove it. So we can try to move on to the next issue. Yeah, exactly. Science isn't. It isn't infinite. It changes. It changes with information. The more information you get, the clearer picture you have. And that's the thing that they don't understand, and that's what makes them frauds. I always thought that Dr. Josh on Digital Fiction did a really good Kent Hovind impression, but I'm seeing Aaron Ra on Non Sequitur the past couple nights doing his Kent Hovind impression. I think Aaron Ra's got the better of the two, I have to say.
Oh yeah, and he was on Prophet of Zod doing a Prophet of Zod video about God was saying, let's open the floodgates of heaven, and then Kent Hovind and Ken Ham were coming on, and God was like, what the fuck are you doing here? Did you see that one?
No, or I might have, actually. I don't know. I've been watching so much stuff. Like, I hardly ever leave my computer. I had to take a day off Monday, not sit on my computer at all, just to reboot my brain. But I think I have. I've been watching a lot of R&R lately. I've been watching, trying to really look at other people's arguments, especially if I'm going to be debating these Christians. And I'm really looking forward to a good, solid debate with a well-meaning Christian. So I really can't wait to talk to that Christian blogger. But if I'm going to be debating these shady people like Standing for Truth, that's going to come and just spend all their time trying to disprove something. You know, like I was trying to tell them, like, dude, if you had all of this information and it disproves all of this science, you would be making peer-reviewed papers, publishing those papers. You would not be on the Raging Atheist right now trying to convince me of your bullshit. You know,
right.
It's ingenuous. Let's talk about what you believe. You know, don't talk about what you're trying to make me believe or trying to disprove because you think I believe a thing. You don't know what I believe. You know, nobody does. It's a great misconception. You know, and I'm tired of the bullshit. You know, I'm just really tired of it. So I mean, so her channel, guys, is still pretty small. So hit the link down below and go subscribe to her. Make sure her videos are really good, very informative. So I've been having an issue with my family, and it's one of the reasons why I pushed, and purple rhymes with orange. It's probably not the notification. I actually pushed this back an hour. It was supposed to be 6 p.m. And then we're having a polar vortex here in Michigan. I don't know if you've seen it on the map. It looks like boobies, but it's really cold, and it's kind of made everything go slow. But I've had this issue with my family all day long. It started this morning, and it's really just put me behind on everything that I've been trying to do today. And I want to ask the audience, I want to ask you, Lisa, if you had this same experience with your family, the believers in your family, or the indoctrinated in your family. So this morning, I'm scrolling on my Facebook, drinking coffee, and I am seeing something that I know about. And it's a link, and I don't notice who the link is from at first, but it's a link about the Israeli scientists possibly finding a cure for cancer. And I've been studying this science. It actually started in the science started in Sweden. And these Israeli scientists do think that they have a cure for cancer. And it's from my aunt. She's very religious, and we've had issues in the past. And of course, I'm an outspoken heathen now. But I didn't take any issue with the fact that she was posting this article. No issue at all. I had no issue at all with her posting the article. What pissed me off and aggravated me as I was scrolling down was, and I didn't even see who it was, you know, but it was just a long line of people saying, "Thank God, praise God, thank God," and it aggravated the fuck out of me. I'm not gonna lie. You know, no, don't praise God. Praise the scientists. Praise the people that are finding this cure, that have been relentless in finding this cure. You know,
sure. I mean, because if he really does exist and he wanted us to have the cure for cancer, we would have had the cure for cancer a long time ago.
Yeah, or if he exists, then he created cancer because he created everything in the universe. He is known for placing plagues upon mankind, so he would have placed this plague upon us and killed. I mean, how many hundreds of millions of children have gotten cancer that have committed no sin? I mean, their blood would be on his hands. So it aggravated me, but I didn't comment right there. You know, I didn't comment. You know, it took about 15 minutes, and I'm just thinking about it, and I'm thinking about it, and it's aggravating. So I went on my page, my Facebook page, and just made a comment, and it went along these lines. It was something along the lines of, when you see a family member post an article about the cure for cancer and the thank gods ensue, fuck that, thank the scientists. That's pretty much what the post said. It doesn't take, I shit you not, it's a minute, and I'm getting attacked by family members. And family members that usually would agree with me politically or not speak out against me, they're just attacking me. Like I'm attacking, you know, this person that posted this article, and I didn't say anything about her or the article. My beef was with the thank gods. And so I just put it off. You know, I do respond at first, and then I'm like, fuck this, I'm not going to have this conversation. I put it off. I start editing some videos. I get on the couch and take a nap. I wake up to find out that I let my roommate take the car. So find out that my car is broken down again, third time in less than a month. Have to put it back in the shop. So I get on Facebook, and it's like a fucking controversy. I shit you not. Every believer in my family is ganging up on me like I'm talking shit about cancer. I'm talking shit about this religious family member. And all I said was, don't thank God, thank the scientists. So, like, does anybody else have this problem with their family to where it's almost like they're waiting for that moment that they can finally attack you for being the heathen that you are, the agnostic that you are? You know, it pissed me off today.
I'm sure it did.
You know, and they're attacking me now, and finally I got off of it. I'm like, you know, I'm not going to do this, and I am no longer associating with a cousin because of it. Her son is trying to contact me, I assume to threaten me, you know. And it's just like, all I did was post my beliefs, you know, that you know, don't thank God, thank the scientists. And I'm this horrible human being.
Well, they believe in freedom of religion as long as you believe what they believe.
Yeah, well, and it's like, you know, one of my cousins is talking mad shit, and I finally respond to her, and you know, she's gay. You know, like, and she's defending a God that hates her, attacking me over a God that hates her, and it just blows my fucking mind. I'm like, you know, I'm done with you people. I don't need. If you guys cannot accept me for who I am, then you can just leave and get the fuck off of my Facebook page. I don't need you in my life anymore. I see how you really feel about me, because I'm not gonna bend the knee to your sky god. Then, you know, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be me, you know.
Right. Well, and a lot of Judaism was plagiarized from
Yeah, I mean, it's
other
all
Near Eastern religions. I mean, most of it was. There's hardly anything.
yeah, it's all recycled
Judaism.
stories that have been embellished time and time again. You know, it's our very primitive ancestors were trying to figure out this world that we lived in, and they were looking around and trying to explain things, and they were using a human imagination to do so. It's very easy to figure it out. Is there a possibility of a God? There is a possibility, because they've put that forth, and you have to acknowledge that. But you know, to just blatantly say that I'm attacking a person when I'm not attacking a person, and then for them to attack me when I'm not attacking a person, you know, all I'm saying is, it's the same thing as the gun debate. You know, people got tired of your thoughts and prayers, and now we want solutions. Like shut up about that shit. That it doesn't matter. Thank the scientists, because if this is real, it's science that saved billions of people. I mean, who could count how many people would die from cancer if they found a cure? Science did that, not God. If anything, God created the cancer.
Right.
And it's just and then to get mad at me for just spelling out the obvious truth, you know, and people are like, seriously not wanting to be family with me no more. I'm not wanting to be family with them. I'm like, straight up, me and my daughter don't need y'all. You know, it's ridiculous, but this has been something that's been brewing for a while, and I'm sure that people experience this. You know, the indoctrination is so deep that even if they don't say it to you at first, they're going to hold it in and hold it in and hold it in. And it's been 3 years now that I've been really vocal as an atheist, and it's taken this long for them to be, boom, here it is. This is our animosity. You know, we'll see what people are saying. Yeah, there is an echo. I'm not sure what that echo is. We tried to. I thought it might have been the YouTube page. But I can't quite figure out how to fix it. I'm not sure. It could be on my end as well. Although I don't, purple rhymes with orange says, although I don't think I can be public about being atheist, town is less than 3,000 people with more than 20 active churches. Yeah, and that's a problem across America, I feel. Like, even in the cities where it's more secular. Lisa, what part of the country are you from? I think it's out west, right?
Well, I live in Oregon now.
So you're in liberal country.
Alabama.
Oh, now you live in Alabama.
No, I used to live in Alabama. Now I live in Oregon.
So you went from extreme conservative Bible Belt to very liberal Oregon.
Yeah, pretty much.
So even in Oregon, that's very liberal, very secular. You still have churches everywhere, I'm sure.
Oh, of course.
You know, I'm sure that there's plenty of communities that still see. Yeah, I just think that this is something that's across the country, because this country is, I mean, it's one of the most religious countries in the world. People like to talk about Saudi Arabia and the fundamentalism of Islamic nations, but America is almost as religious as that. You know, I mean, most of the people here identify as fundamental Christians.
And that's a problem, because you're now seeing it. When I was younger and indoctrinated, I can't speak for that younger indoctrinated self, but now that I'm older and I've sloshed off the brainwash, I see, you know, all the hatred. Well, we don't hate you. We just hate sin. But yet, when I was in there, I was saying you need to die. That's still hatred.
Oh yeah.
How you cut it?
You know, and I've tried to explain that. I try to explain that to, like, I try to be rational, and it was like, hey, you know, you might not have to agree with me, but at least give me credit that I at least do know what I'm talking about, that I at least do deal with the worst element of your own religion. You know, give me, you know, I have been told by fundamentals that they can't wait to see me burn, because their Bible says that I should burn. You know, their hearsay laws say that I should burn. So, you know, and I tried to explain that to them, you know, like, if I'm saying that it's the science and not the God, well, why are you so upset about what is making you so mad about that? And with my cousin, who I'm not going to be speaking to anymore, is because she actually has cancer. And I think that she honestly believes that I was talking shit about the cancer cure, you know, and that I was talking shit about this aunt, even though I wasn't talking about them at all. You know, I was just commenting on, save your fucking thoughts and prayers.
Right.
And actually thank the people that spent countless upon countless of hours, you know, how many decades? I mean, this could have been generations, and was generations in the making. We've been trying to find the cure for cancer for 40, 50 years, you know. So thank those relentless, tireless people, instead of your fictitious God that, if he existed in the way you think he existed, created the fucking disease and gave it to us, you know.
Exactly. I was reading a meme not too long ago about, I think it was on Twitter, about, they said God was in the cave, and so man went to the cave and he wasn't there, and then God was on the mountain and man went to the mountain and he's not there, and then God was in outer space and man went to outer space and God's not there. So
Yep.
where now he's outside of time and space. Well, that makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, that's the, and you try to point that out to them. I try to point that out to them, you know, when I say things like, you know, in my grandmother's time, or even when I was a little kid, my grandmother would tell me, you know, don't say goddamn because you'll get struck by lightning. You know, they actually believe that stuff, you know, and now it's all metaphor. Like, no, Christians actually thought Jesus was coming back. And they actually think that he's a real dude. You know, Jews actually thought God was a real being, not this metaphor shit existing out of time and space. No, he existed in the Ark of the Covenant. That was his home. That's where he lived. You know, and now that you don't have that, you have to evolve the story, because what the fuck happened to the Ark of the Covenant? You don't know. God's home got stolen, and guess what? God didn't do nothing about it, because God's not real.
Exactly. But then if you look in the Old Testament, they're talking of at least 3 different gods in the Old Testament. You've got El, you've got Yahweh, and you've got Baal, which some people call Baal, but his name's actually pronounced Baal. El is actually in Genesis. El is actually the head of the Canaanite pantheon. El is a Canaanite god. So is Yahweh. Yahweh is El's son, and Baal is Yahweh's brother. Talk about sibling rivalry.
Yeah, and you know, they all came out of Samaria, and Samaria was a land of many gods. They had everybody knows about the Anunnaki, at least if you've watched the History Channel. You know, it's all ancient aliens, and the Anunnaki are the gods. But I do believe, like, even the ancient, like the first texts, the Hebrew text of the Torah, you know, it wasn't, the word wasn't God, but the plural form, and it spoke of gods. And
Elohim.
Yeah, and now it's one God, but the original translation is it wasn't one God, it was gods, it was the plural.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You know, and that's the thing that gets me, and you know, with the family members, and not even family members, just people that really know you well. Like, say they know you well, they know that you read more than them, they see you research, and they see you, you know, they know that about themselves, that they don't take the time to do that because they're fucking lazy, and yet they're still going to argue with what you know. Like, fuck, you haven't even read the Bible, much less any sources outside of the Bible, and then you want to tell me that I'm wrong about the Bible when I've read the Bible and all these sources outside of the Bible.
I would have to say I was a literalist until I went to college, and then I started reading about these millions and billions of years, and then I was like, wait a minute, the Earth is only 10,000 years old. So then, because I had access to the university libraries, I would go and I would look up this stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense.
Yep. Yeah, and that's how it was with me, and that's why they have to continuously evolve the religion, continuously evolve the story. You know, that's how God went from a physical being to a spiritual being to three separate beings that are all the same being. It's like, that doesn't even make any sense. You know, like, no, that doesn't come from any Jewish lore, you know, any lore about Yahweh, you know, and it's just ridiculous. And then they take, like, you know, I mentioned this in my Kirby as a Boss video. They take little references, like from Genesis, where it talks about a seed of a woman will come and crush the head of the serpent. Well, if you think about it, though, like, how else could anybody come unless they come from a woman? We haven't figured out how to come from a man yet. So that is a self-fulfilling prophecy that, you know, of course a seed from a woman's going to crush the serpent's head, because, you know, men can't bear children.
Correct.
But they put such great stock in this awesome prophecy that came true with Jesus, because Jesus was a person that was born of a woman, but we all are.
and then you point out to them that God didn't know where Adam was in the Garden of Eden. He asked, he's like, where are you, Adam? And they'll be like, no, he just wanted to know where he wanted Adam to know that he knew where Adam was, but he wanted Adam to tell him where he was. And I'm like, no, that's not what it says.
Yeah, they don't read their own Bible, and you know, and that's exactly it with my family. My family is they don't like that I know more about their Bible than they do, so they're gonna get pissed off. And I am very blatant with it. And my thing is, if you guys don't want to see it, you could have fucking unfollowed me or unfriended me a long time ago. It wouldn't bother me. I wouldn't fucking know it. I don't talk to you guys. You know, I am me. I'm not going to hide who I am anymore. We'll see. What I did kind of skip over some comments. MZ said, or Wajida said, I don't engage when my family says stupid religious shit. It's not worth it. Yeah, I should have partaked in that great wisdom. You know, Wajida's 19 years old and he's got more wisdom than I do. MZ says, even if my family is nowhere near religious, my mom gets angry and almost scared when I say God doesn't exist. It's just a perfect reflection of her fear of death and nothing else. Yeah, see, and this is where all of this stems from. All this drama was when my mom was alive. When I first came out of the closet, I poured everything that I was finding out to her, and she was a fundamental Christian. She was raised in a snake handling church down in Tennessee, Cherokee country, and so it was really hard for her. And I was, at the time I was telling her, because she's an alcoholic, and I was like, Mom, if you want to, live long enough to see your granddaughter grow old, get married, you need to see doctors. And she had people in my family telling her that she just needed to go to church. She needed to have more faith in God. She needed to pray. And I was telling her, no, she didn't need to do all of that shit. And, this led to a lot of drama, and it all led to this moment today. And, so it's been 4 years in the brewing. So, yeah, I mean, it is usually my advice that you don't engage in religious talk with family. It is usually my advice that you don't belittle somebody's God belief. But at the same time, if it's your media and you're not calling out anybody by name, then I think that you should voice your opinions on what you see, on what people put out. And I do think that it's a good thing to, if you love somebody, I think it's better to tell them when they're being stupid, as opposed to just agreeing to spare their feelings.
Right.
That's how I think about it.
And it's, you do response videos, and that's great. I like people doing response videos, because there's a bunch of stupid shit out there that needs to be called out.
Yeah, and that's what my thing. If you're going to put your stuff out there, I'm going to call it out, especially if I find it dangerous. Now, if I don't find it dangerous, then it might be a different type of response,
Right.
But I usually focus on the things that I think are going to get a laugh,
But I'm just not that type of person. I can't. I'm not the type of person that just like, oh, let's just do a response video to this, and I'm just like hilarious. That's not how I am. I'm intellectual more than anything else, and that's how I'm combating religion, is let's do this intellectually.
Yeah. And that's, and I respect it when people do that. I do, because and I do try to do that sometimes.
Oh, I know you do.
My thing is, and I completely understand that I try to be different than other people, but it really stems from politics. It stems from all those years, where the Democrats were just weak and they wouldn't fight back, and you had the Republicans just running around, and whether you're a Democrat or Republican, and I'm a Democrat saying this, I think anybody could agree that the Republicans ran ramshot over Democrats for the last 20 years. There was no fight back from the Democrats. Republicans could say what they want, and Democrats always took that nice ground, that that high road that Michelle Obama talked about. And I got tired of that high road, and it has overspilled into the religious discussion as well, because like take Standing for Truth or Matt Powell. They come on and they with an air of being polite are condescending, call you stupid, and then when you call them out for calling you stupid, oh, I didn't say you were stupid. No, don't give me that shit. I mean, it's all fake. But then when you give them some real animosity back instead of that passive aggressive animosity that they give you, well, then they don't like that, So that's why I do it. That's why I do it. I try to get, their golden rule supposedly is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So I'm doing unto you as you are doing unto others, is how I look at it. But it is toxic. It is. And it does create toxicity. I have gotten death threats. It is toxic. Because people like to think that how they do things are always the right way. But when you show them how it feels from the other side, they don't like that at all.
Right. One of my hopes for my channel is that, especially with the Anthropology of Religion series, people will look at that, especially Christians, and say, whoa, wait a minute, there's a tree of life in almost every religion in the world. you mean that's not unique to us?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, because there's generally a tree of life for every religion in the entire world that's ever been or ever will be. There, well, can't say ever will be, but
or if not the tree of life, something very similar to the tree of life. Like in the Native American religion, we had the circle of life. You know,
right,
something very similar.
It's almost like an umbilicus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard that analogy before. Yeah, it's almost like it's the connection from one generation to the next, to each human being that's here. You know, that type of thing. You know, and I still have some of those kind of beliefs. You know, I still think that humans have energy and that we're connected, and those are kind of spiritual, like out there beliefs. And I take shit from atheists about it, but I still like you can't help but you still think that could have some validity. We just haven't proven it yet. As opposed to, you know, Yahweh, who used to live in a small box, but now is, you know, the master of the universe, and nobody can see him.
Yeah. Give me He-Man any day.
Yeah. You know, it's just really funny. Like, and it's so easy to disprove that narrative. You know, it's just so easy to disprove it.
Oh yeah.
But then they hate you for it. But what I do like about your channel is you do take that historical route. So, like, say if a Christian does come to your channel, there is no rudeness there. So, you know, if they're taking issue with the things that you're saying, they're taking issue with the truth, because they can't take issue with your tone or with any disrespectful words you might be saying. Like me, you know, they get mad when I say it's a delusion, even though it's a delusion. But I can see, you know, yeah, that can be taken as disrespectful. You're not going to get that in your videos.
No. And I link all my sources, so if they've got a problem with what I'm saying, they've got a problem with the source. I'm not, you know, and I tell people when I sign off, if you find something in my videos that I'm not saying right, I want to know about it, because I don't want to misrepresent something.
Yeah, and that's me too. And I always say that because I do know, and especially because you know, most of my videos are off the cuff. My debates so far haven't been planned. I think when I'm talking to Christians from now on, I do want to have a topic, like a topic debate. And then when I'm talking to like agnostics like yourself or fellow atheists or viewers, then it can be more of a generalized discussion type format. Because I think so far, I think the main problem I've had with my debates is it's random. You know, it's here or there. I want to know the topic that I'm going to go into, so that way I can prepare for it and not just be flying off the cuff. Because if I'm wrong, then that can be used against me. And if I'm ever wrong, hopefully people will point it out and I can find it and say, all right, you know, I was wrong about that. Like somebody just commented on my creativity movement crazy cults video about how those neo-Nazis aren't really atheists, they're pantheists. But in my research, they were claiming back then to be atheists. So now I really want to look at their ideology a little bit more, because if they do indeed turn out to be pantheists, then of course I want to correct myself and get it out there so I'm not misrepresenting them or myself. Or atheism, you know, because fuck, I'd love for them not to be atheists.
Right. It was just like in my Hinduism video. I had a couple of Hindus say, well, you're mixing up the schools of Hinduism. Well, I haven't released any other Hindu videos except the addendum. But I'm talking about before Hinduism was even a thing. I'm talking about when we can start seeing the ideas of Hinduism come about. And, you know, I probably wasn't very clear on that which is why I made an addendum to it. And I will make sure in future videos, when I start delving into the archaeology of the different religions, that I do say this is before such and such was a thing. This is when we can first start seeing the ideas, but not the religion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I looked at that too because I was really fascinated with when I think it was Richard Dawkins. It might have been Hitch, but I think it was Richard Dawkins was talking about how atheism is mankind's natural state. So I started looking into that, and I wasn't looking at the beginnings of Hinduism, although I do believe Hinduism, if I'm wrong, was like the first structured religion.
It's the oldest.
Yeah, I think it was one of the first. But I started looking at pre-religion and what those people, where did God originally come from, and what I found and what Dawkins, I think it was Dawkins, it might have been Hitch, but I think it was Dawkins because back then I was really big into Richard Dawkins. I think that what he found or said, and what I found through my research was pretty much before religion, people feared, like ghouls and goblins and witches and, the stuff that we consider fantasy today. But they actually really feared those things as real things. But, these were primitive human beings first coming out of Africa that knew nothing outside of the Garden of Eden that would have been Africa.
Right. And thunder was Thor's hammer and yada, 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 which is where all this comes from.
Mm-hmm.
But in one of my origins of religion video, I go into how polytheism started, and actually we had shamanism. It was the first form of religion.
Yeah.
And tribes started.
That's what I found too. Once humanity escaped the dark gods, the self-sacrificing gods, it did become more of a shamanistic thing. Yeah, I found that too. And I know Native American religion was always for 10,000 years a shamanistic spirituality type deal.
Right. And then clans started getting into tribes and whatnot. And so you had to respect another clan's god because, well, you might need that clan's help in the future. And that's how polytheism became a thing. So
yeah, and I'm fascinated with polytheism. One of the people that I'm watching a lot right now, Ocean, I've kind of been wanting to speak to Ocean since he came in on a Matt Powell conversation that I had, and just blew me away with his intelligence. But he's a polytheist. He believes in the Viking gods. And then frustrated atheist, I'm just finding out, is starting to consider himself a polytheist. Maybe I saw it on Twitter today, and I want to talk to him about that. But I'm really interested in that because I love those stories, and not just the Viking stories, but all the polytheistic religions. The ancient myths from Greece and Rome. I've always been fascinated with that history.
Right. Another thing that gets me is Christian lore. I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, I was taught that for the first 200 years of Christianity, there was all this killing and stuff by the Romans of the Christians. Put them in the Colosseum and let the lions eat them and let the gladiators kill them, all that. And I was really surprised that never happened.
Yeah, it didn't happen like Christian history says it happened. Nero did persecute Christians, as far from what I can remember, a little bit. And it's not even really proven that Nero set the Great Fire. I know that's one of like the creationists or Matt Powell's talking points, or maybe it was Standing for Truth. I can't remember who. It's never really been proven that Nero started the Great Fire because of the Christians. It's been speculation, and he probably did because he was he was crazy as hell. But the only problem that the Romans had with the Christian religion was the aspects of Christianity, because not all Christians thought that Jesus was a god, but the aspect of Christianity that thought Jesus was a god, then that placed him above Caesar, and Rome had a problem with that. So if you're a Christian and you're going into Rome and you're actually preaching that Jesus Christ is a god, well, then you're breaking Roman law. So it's not like they're persecuting you. You're breaking the law and you're being persecuted. You know, you're being arrested and convicted of breaking the law.
Right.
I don't agree with their punishments, and I don't agree that it should have been breaking the law, but it was, because if you put something above Caesar, that was breaking the law of Rome. You know.
Which was really interesting, because Jesus said, "Bring me a coin," and brought him a coin. He says, "Whose image do you see here?" And they said, "Caesar's." And Jesus said, "Render unto Caesar." So that never made sense to me.
Yeah, you know, the whole thing about Jesus being crucified, you know, like they make it out like it was some kind of special thing that they just did for Jesus and then the two other people that were next to him. But no. And if you actually look at history, you know, anybody
look at Masada.
Yeah, well, anybody that would have broken those certain set of laws. So what was Jesus accused of doing? He was accused of calling himself God. You know, that was blasphemy, that was hearsay, but that broke Roman law. So, but Jesus wasn't the only one doing that. Plenty of people were going around claiming to be the Messiah. Well, what was the Messiah back then? If you were claiming to be the Messiah, you were claiming to be the king of the Jews, of the line of David, that was going to lead them to freedom from Rome. That you was going to be the king of Israel, which would challenge Rome's authority. So yes, the punishment for that was crucifixion. And there would be hundreds of people crucified at the gates going into Jerusalem at that time for that exact same crime.
And also, I was reading up on the Romans and crucifixion. The Romans, if they crucified somebody, they would not let somebody have an honorable burial. They put them in a mass grave. So, I mean, that doesn't make any sense either.
Yeah, you wasted away to nothing on that.
It was part of your punishment.
Yeah, and we also know that you don't die from it in 24 hours. And they try to say that the spear jab is what killed him, but it's not. Like it's just not consistent with a real crucifixion. I think it takes something like 3 days to actually die from crucifixion, something like that. So I mean, the story itself isn't consistent with what we know from history to be crucifixion.
Correct. It's one of the most painful ways to die.
Oh yeah.
But the Romans chose it.
Yeah. I think probably the only other painful way you could die would be like burning to death, burning at the stake. And that would be a lot faster. It would just be more immediate pain.
Right.
Where with crucifixion, yeah, you're up there for 3 days feeling it. So I think by perspective, you could probably say that would be more painful than, 5 minutes before all your nerve endings burn away.
Right. So
they do say that burning to death is the most painful way, but I would, yeah, I think I'd have to think about which way I'd rather go.
I'd just rather go to sleep.
Yeah.
Never wake up.
Me too. I don't want any torture. Don't torture me. I'll fold. You don't have to torture me. I'll tell you everything.
Yeah, don't tell me any state secrets. Can't keep them out if they're going to torture me.
Yep, I'm going to give it away. Nope, I want to live. And I want to live pretty. Don't mess me up. Don't mess me up.
So anyway, but yeah, that's what I do. I try to come at religion from an intellectual point of view.
Yeah, and I find it refreshing. My camera's getting blurry again. I find it refreshing, and and I definitely want to promote people that do it in a different way than me. I definitely say that the Raging Atheist is for a certain element of your atheism. I am here to talk shit for you guys. And if you want to learn something, then go to Lisa's channel. Because that's not what I'm about. You might learn something. I'm not saying you won't, but I'm not trying to do that, to where you are actually doing the research and putting together well-informed videos.
I'll send Jill over to my channel.
Yeah, I've enjoyed your channel. So yeah, guys, if you haven't checked her out, definitely go to her channel and throw her a sub. You're more than welcome to hang out for a while and read. I'm gonna go through and read some comments, and so yeah, feel free to hang out as long as you want, Lisa, and we'll see what people are saying. If you want to dip out, if you got things to do, feel free to dip out whenever you want to dip out. I'm probably gonna talk for at least another half an hour.
Okay.
Got nothing else to do.
So what are they saying?
I'm kind of going up here a little bit just to catch up with people. All right, so I read that, as Ujia said, I don't engage with my family. I read MZ's. Purple Rhymes with Orange says, my eldest brother keeps trying to bring me back to Jesus. Fortunately, I only have to deal with him a couple weekends each year. Dude, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that, at least. I think my brother's pissed off at me now because, I'm arguing with his wife. But that's one thing I've never had to worry about, is either one of my brothers trying to come at me. I'm not sure about my youngest brother, but my brothers are not very religious, I'll put it that way. So I don't have to worry about them. The thing they don't like about me is that I'm so out in the open about it. They want me to be more respectful. So I'm quite sure that both of them are rather irritated with me and probably blaming me for the shit, even though it's not my fault. I mean, it is my fault. I didn't have to comment, but fuck that. It's not God. It's scientists. Purple Rhymes with Orange, like thanking God for surviving a hurricane, but not acknowledging that the ones who perished must have been people God chose to kill. Yeah, or the people that say that hurricanes are God's punishment for homosexuals. I lived among those people. They are quite ridiculous. We're talking Westboro Baptist Church type people. Ujita says, fuck toxic people. They're not worth time, related or not. And that's where I'm really at right now with it, is if you know what, if you can't accept me, then just go. You guys don't got to be on my page. Your family, I'm not going to get rid of you, but just go, because I'm going to be me. Purple Rhymes with Orange says, Christians across the country, fewer fundamentalists the further north and west you go. Yeah, it is definitely different north. And the Christians I'm dealing with up here right now, I would say are probably more liberal Christians. So, 4 years it took for them to explode. So even liberal Christians don't like us, guys. They don't like us. We are heathens. That's what we are. And I noticed that, at least, but their dislike isn't hatred, to where fundamentals hate us and would not mind to see us burn at the stake. There's more of just, we don't like you. You are a heathen, but we'll tolerate you. And then 4 years later, the tolerance wears out. All right, so Purple Rhymes with Orange, Christians across the country, fewer fundamentalists the further north and west you go. Yep, I totally agree. MZ at Purple Rhymes with Orange, that sounds horrible. You can't even be public with it. Yeah, I don't like that in this country, in this day and age, that you can't be who you want to be. I don't like that. Yeah, I mean, anybody should be like, Lisa here is agnostic. I'm agnostic atheist. I get along with polytheists. I get along with theists. I really. You all right? I really hate that. That people would make you feel uncomfortable with it, and I get it too. This is basically them trying to tell me to shut up about it, and I'm not going to shut up about it. I'm going to be me, and I would recommend if if it's gonna hurt you, you know, if you're gonna like get kicked out of your home, or even if like people that you could, if you can't stand right now to be out of your life, would be out of your life, I would recommend not talking about it. I have a very bad problem with doing that. Yeah, but that is sad. That is sad. I skipped back down to the bottom. Iron Charioteer is here. What's up, Iron Charioteer? And he says Ocean the Wizard is refreshing. I agree. I think Ocean might be one of the smartest people I've been listening to lately. The Jews want to control historical fact, not being anti-Semitic. Yeah, I mean, history. I mean, even the Bible says that. Purple rhymes with orange, so you are 3 to 4 cousins deep. Not sure what that is. I must have missed something. I want to die mid-nut. Vegeta. All right, guys. It looks like that's about it. I was gonna stay on, but I don't know. I think I might go hang out with my daughter. I appreciate you coming.
See you later, Doc.
Yep, I'll see you later, Lisa. I appreciate you coming. Thanks for hanging out. You guys going sub tour? Any last words, Lisa?
Nah.
All right, I'll see you later then.
What I've got.
All right, see you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye. All right. Hopefully, the echo wasn't too bad. I did get a pretty bad echo in my headphones. So hopefully it wasn't too bad on your guys' end. I do want to appreciate you guys for coming and hanging out with me. I'm going to have another talk soon, maybe tomorrow. I haven't nailed that one down, but I think I definitely got something for Saturday. I do have a few people, but I'm trying to get another theist in here. I want to have a conversation with another theist, maybe a debate on a topic. So you guys, I really appreciate the comments. Be a happy heathen, as Iron Charioteer says. Being a heathen is far more fun than being a Christian. I totally agree. I love being a heathen. It is one of the things I'm most proud of. I want to thank you guys. I'm going to have a cult bunny video coming out tonight. Not sure which one. Coffee or Bible time. Girl to find. But I'm going to have a cult bunny video coming out tonight. So watch out for that. Watch it. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Thank you guys for showing up. I will see you soon.